After yet another disappointing season in the Virginia's States Only Challenge, we finished with only 2 wins, making the grand total in this series 7 wins through 3 seasons. And that is about as much of a recap as I think we really need. I talked a little bit about this at the end of last episode. I'm gonna do a quick little say again at the beginning. We're gonna get through season 4 extremely quickly, off season and the regular season, all in this video, as we do round out the previous year, season 3, with a win in the Super Bowl by the Tennessee Titans, 30-24 beating the Falcons. The Super Bowl MVP is an outside linebacker, Kayvon Thibodeaux, so that's fun. You can see the yearly awards off to the right-hand side. We clearly are starting this past the other showing of the yearly awards and the Pro Bowl. I could wrap that up for you. Nothing good for us. No Pro Bowlers. We had a couple guys in the running for the Rookies of the Year, but not really. So, nothing good from season 3. As we look to move on, we have a lot of work to do. And as I mentioned, we're going to be getting through this extremely quickly. So it's going to be a little bit different than how the series has been running and in previous Maddens as well. So gonna be more or less a recap here for the off season, straight into the next year, and we just need to see this team starting to win games, because again, we've only won 7 games in 3 seasons. We have only 2 seasons left to win a Super Bowl, so we need to see immediate change now. And we did see 2 retirees on our offensive line, Mark Glowinski and Morgan Moses, 2 guys who were starters for us, though when the year definitely started to clearly show we weren't going anywhere. We did put in the backups, giving them time to develop, and it's a good thing we did, because those backups are now going to be starters. Now, when it's come to signing, guys, before we get into the open free agency, we do have some big names we do need to try to re-sign, and the first and foremost is Christian Darrisaw. Now, luckily for us, he has interest in staying around, so that should help us out, though we will just bump up these numbers a little bit just to help secure it. It will be a good contract that we put out, and he will take it. We also have Kendall Fuller, one of our higher rated cornerbacks. We'll like to try to keep him around, and again, he has interest, just helping us out. He likes the offer, he's coming back. Now, the one player that we would like to bring back but doesn't have a lot of interest right now is Khalil Herbert. He's probably in his regression age, so he's not going to be a number 1 running back moving forward, though he's not actually looking for a lot of money. So we can make a 2-year deal for 3.5, but he's going to test. Rasul Douglas also has been really good for us, and he really wants to stick around here, so I'm actually going to see if he'll take a little bit less money, and he will. But everyone else here, I think we could just say no for now, and we'll most likely come back to them in open free agency. Now, open free agency for us really doesn't do much. We brought back a lot of guys. Herbert did end up coming back. Brought back Geno as a mentor quarterback. But pretty much everyone else was guys who were already on this team that we just needed to bring back for depth, maybe rotational purposes. And when it comes to the draft, there's honestly not a whole lot for us to do, which is also another reason that we're getting through this pretty quickly. The running back was a projection round 1 to 2, is actually around 3 to 4, so if he drops to around 3 or 4, sure, maybe we'll try to pick him up. The only other 2 draftable guys were both strong safeties. Now, Casey Johnson is an actual true round 1 to 2, and we'll try to pick him up. But then the other guy, around 2 to 3, is actually a day 3. So if these guys fall, we'll pick them up, but honestly, in this draft class, or in this draft, I don't expect to do much. Trade back, just stockpile picks for hopefully a really good draft after this season. We'll see shortly. And of course, with us only winning 2 games, we are the first pick, so we could definitely try to get a lot from this pick, and that's exactly what we're going to try to do. Now, the trade we're going to go with is the Dolphins. We're picking up 3 first-round picks, including one of those dropping back this year, picking up a second-rounder this year and next year, and the year after that. So potentially a lot we could do with that, and maybe needing to trade up if we need to. So that's going to be what we do with that first selection. And we're not dropping back very far, as we also have the 8th pick in the first round, which again, we will be trading away. There's just nothing for us in this draft class, so just trying to stockpile for the future. And I don't think we're going to get a better trade than this one from the Lions. A first, second, and third for next season. Again, stockpiling for later, we'll accept that trade. And we'll make one more trade here in the first round because we have another pick. Spot 16, this one at 13 again. Future picks here. And I think I'll take this one from the Raiders. We'll get a first for next year and the year after. And finally, with this first round pick at spot 16, it might be a little bit high, but we're going to go with Casey Johnson, a strong safety, though we will see where he plays. He has some decent speed, strength is all right, overall a fairly decent athlete. Some things that do show promise, good zone, good awareness. However, the man coverage, not all too good, so maybe he plays a little bit more of a free safety. Either way, let's just bring in as many players as we can that are available to us, and we'll find out where they play later. But he is going to be a hidden dev with 89 speed, 69 strength, acceleration also an 87, so he's looking more like the athletic build for a strong safety. He could develop well, at least behind Edmonds. Now, the running back that was on our list, he actually did end up going, which was a little bit higher than expected. He was projected the round 1 to 2, but his talent, I want to say, was a 3 to 4, so he went a little bit higher. So that really only leaves one player left for us to draft, and it's another strong safety. So I really don't feel like we need another guy. We have a lot of picks left, but I feel like we could package them all up, or most of them all up, and just, again, more picks for the future. We don't need to make any of these selections here, though we could if in the third round, Lamont Beckham is still here. So we're just going to package together 2 second-round picks here and ask just for the first-round pick here from the Broncos. They didn't have a lot of picks in this draft, so they should take this offer, and they will. And Lamont Beckham is still here, so it's definitely an overdraft. We know he's a day 3 talent, but might as well bring him in. From an athletic standpoint, looks very similar to the other safety. Does have the zone, man coverage not there. Awareness is going to be a little bit lower, tackling a bit of an issue. So definitely looks like he might be more of a free safety. With a normal dev, does have the better speed and acceleration, so we could move him to free safety. Now jumping way back to the 5th round, everyone left here is going to be a potential undrafted. So it's more so us just using these picks as a way to lock in certain players before other teams get to pick them up before we have an option. And the player that seemingly went up the most throughout the year is an offensive lineman, and we do need at least depth at that spot. David Saxton, 23 years old, plays right guard, just interior offensive line, decent bench reps. He struggles a lot, gonna be a depth player for us. We might as well go ahead and pick him up just because we need the depth. Now, we do still have 3 more picks remaining. There is a cornerback in Dominique Boyle, who is, again, the next best riser, but I really just don't feel like we need any more corners, nor do we need safeties. There is Steve Fitzsimmons, who did go up a little bit. He has some finesse moves, a C. There's also a quarterback in Al Davis, who very much is going to be a developmental guy, unless the short accuracy ends up being an A and the deep is a B, which would be a major surprise. But I think we're going to go with Fitzsimmons here, then the quarterback, and then with that final pick, there's a kicker. And if you've been watching the series, we've been struggling kicking the ball. So that's the plan for the remainder of this draft, as we will go with Fitzsimmons, a normal dev. And with that first selection in the 7th round, we will go quarterback Al Davis. How fast is he? Runs about a 4.6, not too bad. A lot of unknown. He's going to be a practice squad quarterback for us with a hidden dev. Okay, I'll take it. And lastly, with the 8th pick in the 7th round, we are going after the kicker in Ryan Simpson. Now, what is his strength or kick power? Poor. Not a great start. And his accuracy, B to a C. So probably going to be a practice squad kicker, but we will pick him up. And that will be the end of our draft class. And the class ends up being, honestly, actually a little bit better than I expected, with us going after just some random guys late on. Talk about them a little bit each individually. Casey Johnson, the hidden dev strong safety, is a 74, and he actually has some pretty good ratings. We have a whole lot of safeties, so where he fits in, I don't know. I was hoping that these guys could maybe switch over to a nickel backer or even play some slot corner or nickel corner, but doesn't quite appear to be the case, considering the man coverage is so much lower. But we're stockpiled at safety, that's for sure. As for the other safety in Beckham, a 68 normal. Again, doesn't have the block shedding, does have the good cover skills, so he could definitely play a free safety role. The backup offensive lineman, David Saxton, can very well be that, a backup offensive lineman. Gonna shift him more to the tackle spot, because he's not a run blocker, so a left tackle backup I feel like fits him best. As for the rusher and Steve Fitzsimmons, a 60 overall, the lowest of the group, and yeah, he's definitely going to probably be practice squad. Now the hidden dev quarterback Al Davis is a 65 with a +2 boost, so a true 63. And yeah, most likely going to be a practice squad guy with no accuracies touching the 80s. And also the deep accuracy gets a +3 with the coaches, and that just hits 70. So no real future for him. And lastly, we have the kicker in Ryan Simpson, who has 86 power with 78 accuracy. I don't know, if Sly keeps having sub 70% seasons, then maybe we give Simpson a shot in the last and final year. I don't know, we did what we could with this draft class, it just wasn't very good. Now when it comes to the next possible draft class, it's interesting. We have a lot of more players, but a lot of these players are still potential undrafteds. Going through from top to bottom, there's undrafted quarterbacks, undrafted running backs, several fullbacks. There are a couple draftable receivers, and fingers crossed that they end up being really good. Emmett Little, a Virginia receiver at 6'1", 185 in the round 2 to 3. Then out of William and Mary, there's Najee Tolbert, who's 6'1", 179. So I don't imagine them being anything but maybe some slot or playmaker types, but take any help that we can get. As for the offensive line, there are two players, both of them potential undrafteds, one out of West Virginia at left guard, and then another out of Virginia Tech at right tackle. For the defensive line, some more potential undrafteds, one out of Virginia at left end, then a West Virginia and a Virginia Tech at right end, plus a William and Mary, plus a Virginia Tech, and another Virginia Tech. All of them are all undrafted potentials, or projected at least. DT, another Virginia Tech, potential undrafted. Couple linebackers that are late. There is a mid-round middle linebacker in Jacoby Lawson out of Marshall. Hopefully he ends up being something. We have some decent linebackers, but they're all getting up in age. There is a cornerback potential undrafted, and of course, we have some draftable high-end safeties, because we clearly need like 20 of them. I think we already have 6 or 7 on roster. We're taking the best possible players available to us, so we'll see what this draft class ends up doing. Hopefully they can maybe flex out to corner, as our cornerbacks are getting on the older side. So that is what this next draft class looks for us. A lot more of defensive guys than offensive, and the offensive guys that are there, pretty much all potential undrafted outside of the receivers. Now, going into season 4, this is our starting lineup. Geno Smith is back in at quarterback. We gave Webster and Willis a shot last year. Webster I still think is the better of the two, but the ratings are better with Smith. He still has, overall, he's still pretty solid. He maybe has one more year left, and then after that, who knows? Richards is going to be the number 1 running back for most of it, though Herbert will still get the starting spot in the power situations. Zacchaeus, I'm going to have as the number 1 receiver this time. Putting Wicks against the second best corner, maybe that will get him open a little bit more, though Zacchaeus will go into the slot whenever we do go out in a 3 or more receiver set. Pascal, then going back to the outside, we're also going to see a little bit more of Douglas as that second slot guy. So whenever we go out in a 4 spread, we'll see Douglas, see how well that works. Jelani Woods still at tight end. Nijman, I think is still how it's pronounced. He's going to get the start, at least at the beginning. We're going to keep a close eye on that, because in his little amount of time starting last year, he gave up a lot of sacks. So Salderveri could very well step in for him, but we're putting the highest rated players out there wherever possible. As for the defense, not a whole lot changing. Barno again is the higher overall compared to some of these other guys, despite not always having the best ratings, but highest overall, we're putting him out there. So we'll see if he comes back at all in this next season. We only have Kendall Fuller left on this team. We did have to cut Kyle Fuller. He had regressed a lot, only had 85 speed. So Fuller and Douglas are still going to be our starters on the outside, with the second-year corner in Jamie French going in the slot. Now, Isaiah Reed remains our starting free safety, though if he doesn't play well, Thornhill can easily substitute in. We also have the rookie in Johnson. Linebackers staying the same, no changes there. Edmonds still starting at strong safety. Again, we have Johnson. And because we have Johnson, if for some reason Edmonds or Diablo needs a break at the sub backer, the other brother Edmonds is going to move down and Johnson will step in. Kind of the best way we could get that rotation going. So hopefully we're going to see a lot more success in this season. Season 4, again, only 2 more remaining. And game 1 starts off with the bang, a win. Already raising our win total. We're now at 8 throughout this series. Putting up 10 points in the second and fourth quarter. Apparently we could just do it in crunch time. I don't know. But we go for just under 300 yards, giving up just under 250. We also intercepted the second-year quarterback Landry Cohn 3 times, though Geno Smith threw 2 interceptions, so not the best start for him. Completion percentage, 54, not great. Rushing game, though, 4.6 and a touchdown for Clifton Richards. Love to see it. Plus another touchdown for Herbert, who had 4.5. So the running back duo working well there. And we are still using the 49ers playbook. Receiving wise, Cooper Kupp had a great day. Zacchaeus, 61 on 4, not too bad. Wicks, 40 on 4. It's at least a first down technically every catch. This game did see a lot of tackles for a loss, though Asante Samuel Jr. had 2, but for us, Jimenez had 2, and we started to see him come on do that a lot in the later part of last year. The sacks, though, go to Dexter Lawrence, expect that, and Cameron Jordan. So we at least give up sacks to expected players. But the ones with the interceptions, 2 for Tremaine Edmonds, 2 for Tariq Woolen, again, expected player, and then Casey Johnson. See, having that rotation at strong safety seemingly worked. He got out there and he made a play. And on top of that, Joey Sly, 2 of 2 and 2 of 2. Perfect. Because also our rookie kicker, he did get signed. Can't remember by who. It was either the Browns or the Giants. For some reason, those are the 2 that are coming to my mind. So we really need Sly to perform well. But in the following week, we would get blown out with just an awkward score, 27-5, as the Jacksonville Jaguars get the win with 333 offensive yards. And while we barely managed 2 1/4, and by barely we actually were 2 yards under that. In this one, no interceptions for Geno, so better, slightly higher in completion percentage, but no touchdowns. He was also sacked 6 times. Herbert, while threw 2 touchdowns with a 68% completion percentage. In the running game, James Cook, 3.8 on 16 carries. Not bad. Akers did get the touchdown with 4. Herbert, though, 4.8. Not too bad. Pretty even split, but Richards struggled in this one. And it looked like we struggled to cover receivers, as Max Glenn, a second-year receiver, gets about 80 on 5. Jalen Waddle into the end zone. Jelani Woods was our best receiver, so not great. And we allowed 1 touchdown to Rashad Bateman on 2 catches. Blocking-wise, it was Miles Sloan who really struggled in this one. And Darisaw, for some reason, has been having multiple sack games. So not sure why Madden doesn't like him. Maybe health has been an issue for him. Over on defense, we did see Zach Seiler get 3 tackles for a loss, if only he did that in Season 1 of the Rams franchise. 2 for Quay Walker, 2 for Jimenez again. I mean, consistent for him at least, and that's what this team really needs. The sacks went to Peyton Turner with 3, 2 for Drew Sanders, and then 1 for Quincy Rudolph. So no one I would say of big names. And Sly did miss a field goal, so could have at least made it a more normal score, being 8-27 versus the 5. Who got the safety? Amari Barno. So finally back in the starting lineup. He at least scored some points for us, just was in losing fashion. But the team would bounce back the following week, 28-17 over the Panthers. We did give up just about 350 yards, but we won the game. Somehow, some way. So let's see what those stats were. Geno, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, completion percentage of 76, perfect. Anthony Richards, 1 of 1, was sacked twice, completion percentage just under 60. Rushing wise, Saquon 1 touchdown, 4 yards a carry, expected. Richardson bounces back a little bit in this one. Herbert gets another touchdown. So he's actually thriving in that second running back role. We did not, however, do well against Tank Dell. So it seems like the safety and cornerback group are actually struggling a little bit. Also, Smith and Jigba does really well. So that draft class in general gave us trouble. Though Zacchaeus did get 3 touchdowns on 5 catches for 63 yards. Wicks, 5 catches, 46. He's not having a great year, at least to start off with. Tackles for a loss, not as many. 2 for, actually all of them are for the Panthers. So Jimenez does not get any in this game, but he does get 1.5 sacks. So he's at least consistently in the backfield. Dante Stills splits with him. And Tremaine Edmonds gets, I believe, his 3rd interception this season, because I want to say he had 2 in week 1. His total is either 2 or 3. So either way, nice to see. And Sly can't miss any field goals if he's not having the opportunity. So I guess that's a win, perhaps? We at least won the game, so I'm going to take it as a win. And as we continued on towards week 8, we would actually go on to win the next 2 of 4 games that did see a loss to the Cardinals and division rival Giants, who we beat just a couple weeks earlier, 28-17. Had a great opportunity to sweep them, but in that loss, we also gave them their first win of the season. Next up are the Cowboys. Now, at this point, our division actually has not been doing very well, as we are 4-3 on top of the NFC East. Now, I will state real quick, change the way that I have been simming these games. Previously, I've been jumping in because we've had the custom playbook and simming through those games, and that's when we have not been scoring. I've also been doing the weekly strategies and all that. This go around for this episode, I am straight up simming through the weeks. I am letting CPU manage for most of this. Pretty much all I'm doing is putting in staff points to the spots I want and upgrading players. I'm letting the Virginias only be Virginias only, and it's working so far. But at this point, this is a pretty big game because the Cowboys, while they have 2 less wins than us, technically they only have 1 more loss than we do. So we are going to jump in a little bit here to this Cowboys game, see a little bit of action for the first time this episode, though it's going to be mostly quarter sim. And it's going to be some Thursday night prime time. As Dallas does get the first points, though we get the first touchdown, Dallas answers back, and already that's more points than I think we've seen these teams score, at least our team score, in these quarter sims. So that's good to see. 10-7 as we continue on, going back and forth. No teams putting on points yet till Dallas does grab a lead, but we tack on some points right at the end of half. 17-13. We'll continue on here through the 3rd quarter. Can we see more points? Yes, we do grab a lead. Dallas marches back, retakes it. It's now the 4th quarter as we slow it down. Needing to end this drive with a touchdown, and Wicks starts us off with 16. With a 1st and 10, we then lose to Richards. 2nd and 12, we get 10 Zacchaeus. 3rd and 2, 15 yards to Jelani Woods. If we get inside the red zone, we'll chime on in. As we move inside the 30, then lose to 3rd and 9. We get 7. Field goal does not help us. So we will jump in here. Our first time on the field so far this episode. We are going to start in shotgun, handing it off to Herbert with some lead blocks, and he will pick up the first down for us down to the 21. And I'd say that's pretty close to the red zone. So we'll watch the remainder of this drive with shotgun once again. 2 up top, 1 down below. Geno Smith back at QB, going towards that back pylon, and Wicks pulls it in over the top of the corner safety, the DB. A heck of a grab, a fantastic throw from Geno. Just put that where only Wicks was gonna get it. Well, I say only. Could have asked for a little bit more there from the corner or again safety. Either way, I'm gonna take it. Great throw. But our defense is gonna need to hold on to it as they pick up 6, then a throwaway. 3rd and 4. We only allow 3 to the fullback. Do they go for it? No. They punt it away. This is time to run out clock for sure. As we do start off with a run. Richards with 3. Then a knockaway. 3rd and 7. We pick up 17. Zacchaeus up to the 40. With about 3 minutes and counting as Richards picks up 5. Second and 5, 19 more to Pascal. As we get into plus territory, another 3. Richards trying to milk this clock. We lose 2. But we're 1 play out of the 2-minute warning. Or we actually just hit the 2-minute warning, but it didn't quite update. Third and 9. It's actually intercepted by Ryan Neal. Devastating. So the defense will have to come through late. We're only up a field goal. If they get the first down here, we'll jump in, and that will do it. Trying to stay above 500 as Mac Jones and the Cowboys driving downfield. About a minute left. They have 2 timeouts. Pass rush working its way in, but they will get it off, but slightly inaccurate on the 40th pass for Jones on the day. Only completing, I want to say, said 26 of his 40. Not too bad for the defense. As it's 2nd and 10. From the pocket, it's clean. Going down to the bottom, big hit comes in, though it will be a gain. Leaving 3rd and 4 at the 27. They just need a field goal to tie this game up. And they will get the first down to about the 15. They mark it at the 14 with forward progress. 1 timeout remains, 37 seconds on the clock. Mac Jones once again from the pocket. Waiting across the middle, turning up, and another first down to the 3. That time going to Marvin Mims. We need to get a stop here, defense, but instead, touchdown. Dallas takes a late lead. Extra point makes it 4 points with 17 seconds on the board. But after the kick return, it leaves just 13. We do have all 3 timeouts. Starting from shotgun, Geno going with a halfback screen, but lofting it deep and out of bounds. Okay. Not sure what Geno saw there. I would have rather at least gain a couple yards and call a timeout. 9 seconds left. Still way back at our own 23. Setting up the halfback screen again and a quick throwaway. What are you doing, Geno? He too closing in on 40 passes at 38. We'll maybe have time for another one after this, but it's a quick throw. We do gain some yards. 1 second left with a 4th and 2. Well, we're going to step out here on this last play just to make sure Geno doesn't do anything weird, as we saw so much there at the end. Loft this thing as far downfield as we can throw, but it will be intercepted. Banks, and it will be a loss, sending us back down to 500, but should still be above the Cowboys because we have that game in hand. And that loss would seemingly way over our heads for an extended time after, though we bounced back against the Rams with a good win after. That was the only win in the next 4 games. We were top of our division. Now we're sitting at 3rd as we have reached our week 13 bye. We have a stretch of games coming up. 2 are going to be away, but then we finish at home, and we need to get some victories here late on if we have a chance at even crawling back into the playoffs. And if we are to get into the playoffs, I feel like it's going to have to come through winning our division, as this division is not good this year. Giants 1 and 10. We're at 5 and 7, tied with the Eagles, though I feel like we lost to them at some point this year. And then the Cowboys, we obviously lost to them early on. We faced them in week 15, so that could be a big game. So these last 5 games are all going to be extremely important for how we finish this year. But that road trip would actually do very well for us, as we did get both wins, though it was close here in the Browns, 21-20. And it looks like Cleveland maybe missed an extra point with just the 13 points, or they had the 2 field goals. Either way, they were 1 point away. And they severely outplayed us offensively. We gave up 364 yards, only managing 246 ourselves. But at the end of the day, we got the job done. Geno Smith, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 2 for Jordan Love, but we picked him off. And we had the slightly better completion percentage. And from a running game, overall, I think we did fairly solid here. Just 3.9 for Singletary. We had the same for Richards, and then Herbert also dimed in for another rushing touchdown, though we did give up 1 to Sean Banks, a rookie. Receiving-wise, Davante Adams does Davante Adams things. 2 touchdowns on 4 catches. Meanwhile, for us, our best guy was Zacchaeus, who did have a touchdown on 4 grabs. We're just really not seeing a lot from Wicks this year, which is really disappointing. I really expected him to grow well, and he hasn't done that. Pascal did get a touchdown on just one catch as well. Defensively, Edmonds does lead us in tackles, though do have some unfortunate news. In this game, we did end up losing Divine Diablo for 7 games. So we're going to see a little bit more of the brothers Edmonds at linebacker. But it does not look like it was a mixed extra point that won us the game. 2 for 2 was Cooper Rose, but he did not attempt any field goals. So maybe they went for 2. Maybe they went for the game winner and they just didn't hit it. As for us, Sly was 3 for 3 on extra points, and we're just not even allowing field goals to even possibly take place. So I'm fine with that. And in our revenge game against Dallas, we got the win 31-28. So both these games were close. We did better offensively by about 65 yards. So good to see that. Mac Jones still had a great game. 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Geno went 1 of 1, was sacked once. They both had 75% completion though. Running game, good for Clifton Richards, 4 yards a carry, 1 touchdown. And Herbert had 2 touchdowns on 10 carries. So overall, not too bad. And Mac Jones did have a 4th touchdown with a rush. Receiving wise, Tyreek Hill, I think we did pretty well against him. Zacchaeus has actually had a really good year. He's been our number 1 guy consistently. Dulcich, pretty good, did have a touchdown. Mims had a touchdown. Douglas had a touchdown, a little bit of surprise, and we gave one up to Rondale Moore. As for Wicks, just 3 catches, 42 yards, so at least was more than a first down every single time. So, okay there, I guess. As for the defense, any tackles for a loss? Just a few, and they were all for Dallas. Sack-wise, we at least got 2. Stills and Phillips combined for 2. And it was Dante Banks, the guy that had the interception at the end of the first one, who got another against us. So that leaves us 3 games left. We are 1 game back from the Cowboys, since we split that series. And it's a homestand to wrap out this season. We need wins, and we need Dallas and the Eagles to also lose. Speaking of the Eagles, how did we do against them this year? We won in week 1, 20-10, and then in the second matchup, we lost 28-18. So that series also split. It would go down into a whole array of different breakdowns. Best to just have the better record. So if we do our job, win out, and have some games go our way with Dallas and the Eagles, we have a chance to win this division and make the playoffs. Let's see what happens as we move along. And we do get the first win at home, 24-21 versus the Colts, going for nearly 400 yards offensively, only giving up slightly over 250. Geno Smith, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, completing 78%. Prescott, just 1 touchdown, no interceptions. We sacked him 3 times and he completed just 55%. Richards goes for just shy of 5 yards a rush. Swift also had a pretty good game. Herbert, no touchdowns in this one. But here's finally a big game from Dontavion Wicks. 7 catches, 73 yards, no touchdowns, though we did get 2 of those from Zacchaeus, who had a very similar stat line. The best receiver is actually kind of split, TJ Hawkinson and Romeo Doubs. Though it was Jordan Addison who got the touchdown for the Colts. We also had a touchdown for Jelani Woods. But we saw some tackles for a loss in this game. 2 for Dante Stills and Tim Settle, and Jimenez had 1, split with a half a sack. The other half going to Dante Stills with 1.5. We gave up a couple. Phillips got a sack, so that's good to see. And what's also good to see is 100% across the board from Joey Sly. 2 games left. But it's a big loss in week 17 as the 49ers come to our house and win 45-31. We had more yards in this game. Guess just we weren't as efficient as Michael Thomas, a 3rd-year quarterback, goes for 4 touchdowns. And potentially an injury happened to Geno in this game. I didn't see a notification. But Geno throws 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, completed 68% of his throws. Joshua Webster comes in, throws 2 more touchdowns, but 2 more interceptions, completed just 55%. In the running game, Kenneth Walker has a good game, about 5 yards a carry and a touchdown. We also gave up a touchdown to the quarterback for the 49ers. Richards just 3.8, not awful. Herbert, once again, no touchdowns. 2 more touchdowns, though, for us with Zacchaeus, who goes over 100 yards. Kadarius Toney actually caught the ball. But Isaiah Hodges with 2 touchdown grabs definitely didn't help us out. Pascal with 1, Johnson gets 1 for them, and another for Hunter Henry for them, and Schroeder gets a catch. 1 catch, 2 yards, 6 points. I'll take it. As for sacks, though, Jimenez back with 2. We also split between Stills and Barno, giving up 1 to Chris Jones. And it was Devin White who gave us problems. He had 2 of the picks, 1 to Chidobe Awuzie. And that leaves a whole lot of drama here in the NFC East as the Eagles, Cowboys, and us are all 8-8. I feel like at this point it's kind of whoever ends up on top is the one and only playoff team. If we view the playoff picture right now, it is actually currently the Cowboys and Eagles making it. So if we could get ahead of at least the Cowboys, we do have a chance of making the playoffs. If we could get ahead of both of them, we're locked in for sure. And the Cowboys will be playing the Cardinals in the final week, with the Eagles playing the 49ers, a team that just scored 45 on us. So we'll have to keep an eye at the bottom score tracker as we go along, because we are jumping in here for the Minnesota Vikings, who went 7-9 up to this point. They also maybe are fighting for a spot. They would need the Eagles, Cowboys, and us to lose for them to even have a chance. And so it's a lot coming down here in week 18 as we will watch this game. How much of it depends on how well we play or how bad we play, but I'm surely hoping for some good play. So let's see, do we make the playoffs or do we miss once again? And it will be defense up first. The side of the ball, I think, has the majority of the talent, as it's an X-Factor quarterback in Rose who overthrows Jamar Chase. A little bit of hit coming in there from Edmonds. Honestly, a little bit of some hostility for sure happening in this game with both teams fighting for that shot at the playoffs. Again, we'll keep an eye at the bottom to see if we see any big updates. Nice run stuff. Once again, Edmonds comes crashing down. Don't know how this Vikings team isn't in the playoffs. I mean, they have so many good guys. Pollard at running back as well, as they'll go right back to him. Not gonna get the first down, though. Just a gain of 1, as Tim Settle reads it the whole way. So offense will head out. We've seen this team rise, winning more games this season than in the entirety of the series prior to, with the return of Geno, who's had a fairly decent year, a lot more touchdowns than interceptions, which is honestly pretty rare for this team. Hopefully he will find us into the playoffs, as we'll go with a stretch up top. Herbert finds the edge, breaks one more tackle before getting dropped. A nice gain of 19 as we move the ball into plus territory. Looking with a spread look here. 2 up top, 1 down to the bottom is Wicks. Will be another handoff as Richards has space once again going down the sideline. Another big chunk, 18 that time. If we could nicely cruise our way through this game, I think that would be perfect. Gonna knock on wood as a hit comes in, knocking that one out of Jelani Wood's hands. Perfectly timed with me saying I would like to smoothly sail through this game. With a 2nd and 10, 2 up top. Sticking in that shotgun look, we go back to Richards, trying to get to the outside. Not going to be 18, but will be a good gain, making it more manageable here on 3rd. As we'll just need 4 yards. Staying spread. 2 spread up top, 2 down to the bottom. Will be Geno from the pocket, going down to the bottom. Had our guy in Zacchaeus, but he couldn't quite hold on. So it looks like it'll be a field goal attempt for Joey Sly. Back at the 24 will be a 34-yarder. As an update down at the bottom, we actually won't find out any score from the Dallas game, as that's a 4 o'clock game, but we do at least hit our field goal. So as we continue on here, we'll go a little bit quicker as Trevor Penning called with the, not even holding, that would be a false start. Ja'Marr Chase picks up 9. 2nd and 6, they get 2 Pollard. Another chance to get off the field. We give up 14 to Ja'Marr Chase down the sideline. At least I'm going to assume. And then Kyle Phillips times in for another 14 as they are into plus territory. 8 more yards. Pollard, if they get inside the 20, will jump in, but stills with a sack. Another 3rd down. And we won't be chiming in because a 38-yard touchdown finds Kyle Phillips and a lead for the Vikings. As we move along here, we'll get into our next offensive drive, needing to answer back here as it's a throwaway. 2nd and 10, we get 7, leaving 3rd and short, but a throwaway. We'll have to punt from there. Need our defense to come through. And continuing penalties will help out, but then Terrell Edmonds injured. Can't quite afford that, though we do have the rookie, who's been able to play and play decently when he's out there. As it's 3rd and 6, we force the throwaway. Defense stands tall as the offense was backed up. Now as we start, it's in plus territory, so we got to come away with points. As Zacchaeus picks up 14, let's jump in from here. As we have ourselves a 1st and 10 down at the 21 to start the 2nd quarter. It'll be from under center. With an I formation, play action. Geno going up top for the end zone. Zacchaeus gets pushed in with the help of the Vikings defender, 49. Appreciate it. We'll send you a nice little gift as we take a lead here. As Geno finds his receiver, finally getting that number 1 spot this year for Zacchaeus, and it's working out very well for us. So we'll continue on now with our 3-point lead, 10-7, a sack from Tim Settle, keeping them backed up. They did have a holding on the return and then a throwaway. So defense did struggle a little bit on the one drive, but past that, they've done pretty well. As we get 11 yards, setting up a 3rd and short. Schroeder picks up the 1st down for us, keeping that fullback involved. I do love to see it. As we'll continue marching down the field here, another 3rd and short. Richards with 7, and once again, we'll jump in here. We're looking for a 2-score lead, or at least stretching our lead to 6 points would be like the bare minimum I expect here. As Geno from the pocket gonna roll, going down to the bottom. He finds, I believe that is Allen or Keene, as Miles Sloan shaken up. We don't have the best of depth. I believe Silderberry will have to step in for him. Though Silverberry has been a starter for us at various different parts of this whole series, so hopefully he'll fill in well. As Geno will find Wicks, but he drops it. Might not have been a touchdown, but could have been. Instead, a 3rd and 1 as Geno making an audible here. From the 14, we need just 1 yard. Gonna go with a pass, rolling, scrambling, throwing late off the back of his lineman. Interesting check there then from Geno. But similarly to what we did in the Cowboys game, we're going to line up to go for it here on 4th and 1 from shotgun. It's Richards the back. He'll take the handoff. We have some space. Nice little juke and a spin that was not needed. Could have been a touchdown if he just accelerated to the outside, but we'll take the 1st. Especially with a chance to continue on here to find a 2-score lead. As Geno underneath will find Zacchaeus with a couple hits coming in, gets us down to the 6. That was his 3rd catch of the day for 39 yards. As we'll switch it up a little bit with a heavier set. This is actually the same formation we just ran in, though the blitz read the play very well. As Ernest Jones of all linebackers gets the tackle. You'll know him from the Rams franchise. With 3rd and goal now, Geno from the pocket going across the middle and finds Pascal with the touchdown. We will make it a 2-score lead in a must-win game. And that'll just leave the Vikings a little bit over 2 minutes, though now inside the 2-minute warning, to find some points before half. Typically, Madden really allows these offenses to roll as Pollard does pick up 12. A sack comes in for Jimenez. Love to see it. 2nd and 19, they just get a gain of 1. 3rd and 19, can we get off the field? Unless they go for it on 4th and 16. No, they do punt. About a minute left here. And we do have 2 timeouts, so let's jump out here with the squad. Again, a must-win game. Let's see if we can help out the team. Let's go the pass across the middle. We will find Zacchaeus, though the hit knocks it away. But we'll stick with the same look. As we have some routes going to the outside, I also really like Richards on the wheel. We've seen that work a lot better here in Madden 24, but we're going to pass across the middle. It's Wicks down to about midfield as we'll hurry the ball up. Trying to keep this thing moving here. Let's try to find the screen with a lead block. We actually have two possible lead blocks, though we don't actually get the one I really wanted. We'll call one of the timeouts there. What that does get us at about field goal range, though. Do we trust Joey Sly? I wouldn't say all too much. So if we could get a touchdown instead, I think that'd be fantastic. As we try to loft this one up, and it's behind the intended target. It will end up being an interception for McCreary. It was a decent read there from Geno, but needed that far more to the outside. We take off a lot of time. Shouldn't leave the Vikings with much, as they'll find 11 to Jamar Chase. Only one timeout remains, as they just get 2 yards. 5 no timeouts left. They do pick up 16, but as time expires. So as we hit halftime here, it is 17-7. We carry a 2-score lead, plus we start off with the ball, but we lose 3 yards. 2nd and 13, a throwaway. 3rd and long, a sack for Frankie Louvu. So to start the second half, not great. Can the defense do better? They give up 7, then a throwaway. 3rd and short, we allow 6 to Pollard with the first down crossing midfield. Another 6 for Pollard. As long as it's not 6 points, I'm fine with that as Jamie French knocks it away. 3rd and 4, knocked away Jamie French once again. Will force the punt. I'm fine running some clock here as the KS loses 2 yards, and then another 3. At least wasting time as we pick up the 3. Would still like some more points, though. We don't have to pull back that much as a throwaway back-to-back. 3rd and 10. Kyle Phillips has their one and only touchdown and gives them the first down and gets them past midfield with 2 big grabs back-to-back. 4 more yards Pollard. 9 with the first down for Chase. If they get inside the red zone, we'll definitely chime in. They need about 10 more yards with a 3rd and 4 thrown away. Do they take the field goal? They do. 1-score game, 17-10. Haven't seen a whole lot of action on the field so far this 3rd quarter, as the offense has struggled to move the ball. Can we get our first down of the second half? On 3rd and 3, Richard converts. Love to see it. Just keep that moving forward was what I was going to say as we lose 3. 2nd and 13, we lose another 3. 3rd and 16, we get 7 to Herbert and have to punt away. I feel like this is a drive we should chime in for, as the Vikings start at the 29. Known for late game comebacks and winning one score games, proper way of saying it, though they obviously haven't done that this year IRL. Pick up 6 yards on first down, 2nd and 4 with a tight under center look. Rose checking, gonna send in motion his guy, fake the handoff, then hand it off to Pollard, who does break to the outside. It was a bad angle from Edmonds, shakes off the other Edmonds. Will be a good gain, putting him close to midfield. It's also good to see that Edmonds, the safety, is back. He had the earlier injury, if I'm remembering correctly. Be another run, Pollard down the middle. In comes White, who will get the stop after a gain of 5. Leaving him with 2nd and 5. With the 2 tight ends set down below, plus a fullback. It will be a stretch down to the bottom, though. Sticking to the inside will gain a couple yards. But once again, this defense forcing a 3rd and 3. That's been a popular combination in this game for both sides, as it will be a pass. Rose sitting, waiting. Barno with the big sack, pushing him well out of field goal range and back across the 50 as well. And with just 4.5 minutes possibly remaining in the season, because we need games to go our way, I'm going to step out here with the offense. I want to start chewing some clock, as it looked like we had a wide open gap there. Good block shed. We'll get 3. And I'm pretty sure both the Cowboys and the Eagles game are the later games. So we're really not going to see any update until we sim as Herbert finds a lane, as we also find a late flag. Probably going to back us up, as it is holding. We've seen loss of yards a lot here in the second half, and it's hurt this offense. Hasn't moved since our late first half score as we try to go over the top. Jelani Woods does hold on to it. What a grab over Moehrig. As an injury here for the Vikings as well will be a timeout. Oh, what a time for Jelani Woods to chime in for his first catch of the game, a 42-yarder. As we'll go back to Herbert, not going to break the tackle, keeping this clock moving. Do need to also shout out Sloan, the guard, who did get injured earlier. He is back in this one as we follow behind him, and the center will be a first down, also behind Teller. And it was some great blocks by that interior. Could have chosen a numerous amount of gaps there, but we just need the one. As we'll go right back down the middle again, Herbert with his 7th rush, 41 yards. As we work ourselves inside the 2-minute warning, milking this clock with a 1-touchdown lead. We stretch it to the outside. Herbert, can he outrun? No, he can run, but he cannot outrun. Tyrann Mathieu gets the stop. But we're down to the 12 with a chance to widen our lead here. We'll go with a play action roll. As we have Jelani Woods, his second catch is the touchdown. Wasn't quite on target there, but I'm gonna take it for sure. Make it a 2-score lead as we continue fighting for the playoffs. But the Vikings need a miracle. They've gotten one before in the playoffs, but they're gonna need something to come up big to get them in it here as Jamar Chase with the big grab close to midfield gets sandwiched between a couple different defenders, but already damage done. As it's a 1st and 10. Rose gonna check this one down. Pollard not gonna outrun number 1. I want to say that was Thornhill. Not quite sure why he'd be out there, but it's a 2nd and 2 with a throw down to the bottom. They have Chase outrunning Edmonds into the end zone. That is why we needed a 2-score lead. The Vikings finally strike again. But it will come down to an onside kick. Both teams have 3 timeouts. It's a pretty decent return here for us if we can find the space, but Pascal will just take a few yards. We'll start at the 46. And we just need to waste these timeouts here for the Vikings. And we'll start with an I formation that will spread out to a strong. We're going to get Richards to the outside, try to waste some time as much as possible, though he has the first down with a little subtle juke, gets by Mathieu. And that's the first timeout gone. 2 more remaining for the Vikings in their late attempt here once again to try to make the playoffs. Both teams fighting for that last spot as Richards bursts through the gap with another first down, which should just about seal this game up. Only 1 timeout remains. It's all going to come down to if the Cowboys and Eagles also manage a win, or if they don't. Unfortunately for us, it's not in our hands as we gave up that Cowboys game late. But as the final seconds tick off here, we've done what we can. Late on, we had a pretty good homestand, winning 2 of 3. The 49ers disrupted what could have been the sealer last week. Can they get the sealer for us as they play against the Eagles? Need the Cardinals to come through for us as well. And it would be just one of those teams to come through for us, the Cardinals, defeating the Cowboys in Week 18 as we will meet them in the wild card next episode. Crazy how big of a difference this year went. Just changing the sim style, we have finally made the playoffs with Geno Smith back at quarterback. Now, before we leave, let's see how those last games went. And it was a nail biter for the Cowboys in a 28-26 loss. They were 2 points away from finding themselves in the playoffs rather than us. The Cardinals went for over 400 yards on them. Cowboys 342, so they were still moving. 4 sacks on Mac Jones, no turnovers, at least interceptions. Rushing wise, no fumbles. So it just came to who scored more, and it was the Cardinals. As for Philly, it was another close game, but they got the better of the 49ers, 20-17. As again, the 49ers really did well, 347 yards. Philly only 207. Were there turnovers in this one? 1 interception by Michael Thomas. Could it have been the play that sealed their fate? Maybe. There was no fumbles, so who knows exactly how those games went, but both were extremely close. But we ended up getting that. I'm assuming we're the last spot. I'm assuming we're that 7th seed. And I would be correct, barely making it in. The Bears get the first round bye. Cardinals are the 2 seeds, so we're really going to have to make sure we play well. The Falcons 3, Packers 6, Eagles 4, Seahawks 5. Over in the AFC, Titans get the first round bye. Patriots 2, Broncos 7, Chargers 3, Colts 6, and Browns 4, Chiefs 5. But we've finally made it. Playoff football here for the Virginias. Now, if you're new to this series, it changes up a little bit when we get to the playoffs. So typically we have this series twice a week on every Wednesday and Saturday. When we make the playoffs, it changes. There's only 1 game per episode. We watch the whole game, except for like the kicks, punts. We get through that, unless something crazy happens on those. But we watch the full game. If we win, and you guys get that video 50 likes, the next round is posted the very next day. So you have a chance for much more of this series next week, as the playoffs will start on Wednesday. Again, if we win and you guys get the 50 likes, the next round is on Thursday. A win and 50 more likes, next round on Friday. And if we win and 50 likes, the Super Bowl will be on Saturday. So you guys have a chance to have 8 videos next week if you guys hit that 50 like goal. So make sure you're prepared. Hit that bear icon in the bottom right, or scroll down, hit the subscription button. They do the same thing, but definitely make sure you tap that bell icon so you're notified of when these videos go live. This series, as mentioned, posted every Wednesday and Saturday. Changes with the playoffs. If we win, you guys get that 50 like goal. All my long form videos are always posted at 12:30 Pacific time, so do your math to whatever time zone you are in. A dramatic change from season 4 compared to all the other. Prior to season 4, we had won a combined 7 games. We won 9 and have made our way into the playoffs with a chance to win it here. In season 4, none of these state-only challenges have made it to a season 5. None have failed. So we're close. We could get the job done season 4, though I would have to check what the record is for the lowest regular season record, which we'll talk about at the beginning of next episode. So do not miss out. Do the things to stick around. And until next time with playoff football for the Virginia's state's only challenge, we'll see you then. Bye.
How it's supposed to feel.